I am making this video because I would love to be a wedding guest. I have recently bought some nice new dresses and shoes. I am elevating my makeup. Look at your girl. Look at the material. I need an excuse to show all of this off, but I haven't received any wedding invitations. This year, I haven't received any wedding invitations, and I don't understand. I have been looking forward to attending a wedding of someone that's close friends and family. You know, the kind of wedding where it takes me, the guests, some days and weeks to plan my outfit. I shoto. I come to the wedding, I am happy, I am eating all the food, and when it's time to turn up, we are all on the dance floor turning up. I come home tired, and then I'm excited because I just had a great day. Yeah, I've been imagining it. I have a dream to be a wedding guest. But I don't know what's happening because my friends have decided that they would much rather be gallivanting as unwed women. And I have been harassing them all. I have been harassing and asking for my wedding invitations, and they keep telling me, bring the money, we'll do the wedding. Which leads me to believe that Ghanaian youth are not getting married because Ghanaian weddings are too expensive. For me, I'm committed to being a wedding guest, so in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you 10 ways to make your Ghanaian wedding more affordable. If you're my friend watching this video and you know you've not sent me a wedding invitation, make sure you're watching to the end. And if you're someone who is planning your Ghanaian wedding, watching this video, looking for ways to make your Ghanaian wedding more affordable, stick around because I have a lot of valuable tips for you. If you're watching this but none of the two apply to you, stick around because we are practicing commitment in all aspects of our life, including watching YouTube videos. Hi, I'm Miranisa, a content creator from Ghana, and this is Miranisa's Mini Moments. My first tip is to budget before you plan. A mistake that a lot of people, including me, do is to create a plan and then now create a budget that accommodates to that plan. That's a very easy way to have an expensive wedding. You want to create a budget looking at your income, looking at your savings, looking at your spouse-to-be's income, looking at their savings, and then deciding together how much you're willing to invest in the wedding, and then setting that as your budget. My biggest advice when setting your budget is make sure that regardless of how much income and savings you have, you're leaving some over, because being broke in your first year of marriage is not a vibe. Remember that your first year of marriage is an extension of your courtship. There are big decisions you have to make. You will now be figuring things out like accommodation and bills, and you don't want to be struggling through that first phase because you spent all your money on a wedding. You will be miserable. You will be miserable. You want to leave enough money that caters to your needs, especially for your first year of marriage, and also has room for, you know, a few adventures, ice cream dates, out of town adventures. You're going here and there, and then you're not worried because your first year of marriage is also the time when you're building the bond with your spouse, and money matters are the last thing you want to include in that bonding experience. My second tip, and this one contradicts itself a little bit, is give yourself enough time to plan and execute, but not too much time. And I can explain. If you are planning a Ghanaian wedding in Ghana, you have to fully consider the Ghanaian economy, which is highly unstable. If you're in Ghana, you experienced with me last year unexpected official inflation of 50% plus. You and I both know that the inflation reality was closer to 80%. The prices of everything skyrocketed, and the wedding industry was not spared. Even thinking about my own experience, we got married in November 2021. If we would have decided that we need 3 more months and we would do the wedding in February 2022, we would have been very financially uncomfortable, because by which time the prices of goods and services were already doubling, the fuel prices were already increasing. So in my opinion, I think you need to give yourself max 6 months to a year to plan and execute your wedding, because the risk of high inflation, especially in Ghana, is not worth it. And when you give yourself 6 months to a year, you have enough time to buy small. For us, we bought a lot of our things over the period of a year. We decided we wanted to get married in December 2020. we started buying things for our wedding from February 2021. By February, we had already bought souvenirs. By August, we had already bought this. By June, we had already bought that. So by the time we were in October, we had a very minimum costs, and we weren't like being faced with huge bulk budgets because a lot of the expenses had been covered over the time period. My third tip, and this one is a controversial one, is keep your guest list small. The largest cost from a wedding is in the venue, decor, and food. And all of these costs are impacted by the number of guests. You are charged per head. Your caterers will charge you per head. Your decor, number of chairs, tables, everything will be charged per head. Your venue will charge you based on the size of your crowd. So if you're planning a wedding and you can keep it small, you should, because that's one of the easiest ways to cut your costs. Some of you even go as far as putting your wedding invitations on your WhatsApp status. How much money do you have for your wedding? How much are you even spending? Just keep your guest list small so that you're not taking on any extra unnecessary expenses. My fourth tip would be to shop around for vendors. Shop for vendors, scout for them, check everywhere. Right now, sir, Facebook and Instagram have made it so easy that by the time you search for one vendor, within 2 hours you will receive ads for like 6 more vendors. Compare prices. Do not settle for just the 5 vendors that you've seen everybody using. And that's actually one of the reasons why Ghanaian weddings are becoming so expensive, because everybody and their family wants to use the same 5 vendors. And the law of economics already addresses this. When there's low supply, high demand, price will go up. So there's a low supply of vendors because everybody wants to use the same 5, and a high demand because it's everybody in Ghana. So rather than asking the same 5 people you've seen, look around for other vendors. There are some vendors that would give you the same service quality for a fraction of the price. And when you're speaking to vendors, some of the things you should also consider is even their response rates, their customer service. You don't want a vendor that acts like they are doing you a favor because they have so much demand. You want a vendor that's also just as passionate about your wedding, even if it's one wedding. They are giving their heart and soul because they want to make a mark. When it comes to vendors, there's an abundance. And it's also nice to support small businesses. Everybody is struggling to make it. There's some small businesses who are looking for an opportunity to cover a wedding. So shop around, search on Facebook, Instagram, search in your contact list. You will find vendors, find out their prices, and pick one that meets your expectations, your needs, and your budget. Have your wedding in low demand months. I don't know about you, but nobody has ever invited me for a wedding in January. I mean, nobody has invited me for a wedding for the first half of this year anyway. But in the past, I have been invited for weddings on different months. January, I don't remember getting invited. There are some vendors that have some off-peak months. And then those are the months that they are willing to give discounts. They are willing to throw in some freebies. So consider doing your wedding in those months. Don't think about December, because we all know December is a high peak month for weddings in Ghana. February too, because Ghanaians have an obsession with getting married on holidays like Valentine's Day and Christmas Day. So think about the months in between. Go and gather the wedding invitations that you have received in the past few years and see which month you were not invited for and see which month you didn't receive an invite for. That's probably an off-peak month, and that's probably a month where a vendor will be more than willing to give you a discount or a freebie. This next one cannot be overstated. Lean to your family, friends, and social networks for help and support. You'll be surprised at just how many people are willing to make sure that your big day is a success. And when we were planning our wedding, we were genuinely overwhelmed by the generosity of so many people. People were just willing to offer themselves, their services, their time, cash, kind, to make sure that everything was in place for us. And people were willing to take me around, drive me around. I didn't have any transportation or logistics costs because my friends and family very indirectly covered that. And there were several things that ended up being paid for by family and friends, my souvenirs, some of our outfits, some parts of our catering, even my nails for my wedding. I had a friend take me to get my nails done. And even by leaning on my family, friends, and social network, I got some vendor services for free, and with really good discounts. And my photographer, for example, I got a really good discount with my photography. My MC was free. I am forever grateful to Mr. Otu for that. And at the end of the day, there were so many costs that these services, this help, this support just absorbed from us. But one thing I learned is give people ample time to offer their services or offer their help. You can't come and tell someone 2 weeks to your wedding you're getting married and think that you'll be able to offer you a discount, because they also need to plan. I think that looking into your network first before you even start to scout for vendors is important, because there are discounts and freebies waiting for you if only you would just ask. Number 7, and this is my favorite tip: innovate and do it yourself. DIY. There were so many parts of my wedding that were DIY, and there was so much money that I saved by choosing to do some of the things myself. From my invitations, I designed my invitations myself. I sent it to a printing press. I sent it to my friend actually. And that goes back to the previous point, to lean on your network, because he gave me a really big discount with printing the invitation. But I designed it myself. The wedding programs I designed myself, also sent to him to print, brought them back home, turned them into fans. The headbands that my bridesmaids wore at the traditional wedding, we did ourselves. The bouquets. There were so many things that we just DIY'd, and it saved us so much money. From wrapping the dowry gifts, there's some things you can just do yourself. There's so many resources online. There's so much information for you to find on how to do this or that, and you can save yourself a lot of money by just doing it yourself. Trust me. I've heard that even wrapping the dowry gifts can go up to like 1,000 cedis now. But we did it ourselves at home. We bought the netting, we tied it at home. Whether it was nice, it wasn't nice, we did it ourselves, and it worked out perfectly for us. So this one is something that I really like, especially as a creative person. Even if you're not creative, there's somebody in your family that's creative. So there are certain parts of your wedding that you can DIY, So if you can, do some of the things yourself. It's not everything that a vendor must do for you. Find affordable alternative outfit options. Everybody is doing kente, kaba, and slate in Ghana for their traditional wedding. But there's alternatives. Rather than using kente, you can use lace. Rather than sewing the kaba and slate, you can do the wraparound, which is what I did. And it saved me a lot in that department, because at the time I had reached out to different people asking them how much it would cost, and some of them, even minus the kente, were charging like 3,000 cedis just to sew the outfit. So I was thinking, if I'm now coming to buy kente, which at the time one piece was like 800, 900 cedis, I was now going to buy 2 or 3 pieces, which is almost 2k, and then now pay another person 3k. Then I'm spending close to 4,000, 5,000 cedis on kaba and slits. But what I did was I wrapped it around. I bought lace material, 60 cedis per yard, sewed a nice tube dress, and then bought the kente, which was around 700, 800 cedis. I just needed one large piece, and then did the wraparound, and I looked regal. So think about the alternatives that you can do. You can sew a nice lace dress. You can sew a nice dress with brocade. You can sew a nice dress even with tie and dye. I recently saw a tie and dye bride, and it was too cute. And even with regards to the wedding dress for the white wedding, there are some ready-made wedding dresses that are really beautiful and yet so affordable. When I was searching for my dress, I was surprised. I found some really nice dresses. Some were below 1,000 cedis, some were below 2,000 cedis. Very, very nice. So always weigh your options. You don't have to do a custom wedding dress. You don't have to do kaba and slate. Think about the alternative. At the end of the day, it's about how you rock it. It's about your personality. It's about your style. It's about your swag. Even if you wear tie and dye, it's just the way that you would exude confidence and style and personality that will make it nice. So don't think too much about a specific type of dress. Think about the alternatives and explore it. You might even start your own trend. Save on your wedding venue. Wedding venues are increasingly starting to compete with food and decor in the cost department. it's becoming very expensive to find a venue because everybody is going for the hotels, the banquet halls, and these event centers that are specifically made for weddings. But there are other alternatives. I found out when I was getting married that gardens and garden spaces tend to be a little bit more affordable than the halls and then the conference rooms. And the most affordable option is your house. If you have a large compound, why don't you do it in your house? Do nice decor, make the place look classy and sweet and nice. You don't have to go to a fancy place to have your wedding look good. And then if you have a church that has a church hall, you should consider that. When we were getting married, we realized that the church hall, renting it for a church member was around 3,000 cedis. So we're fully on board with getting married in our church hall, but we wanted to save as much as we could. Unfortunately for us, the church hall was already booked for the time when we wanted to do our wedding, and then we ended up doing our wedding at a garden. That was also very affordable compared to the other prices that we saw. So shop around for venues and think about other alternatives. Think about your house, think about your church's hall, your church's conference room. It doesn't have to be a fancy place. It's all about the look and feel in the end. And finally, this one might shake a few tables, but it has to be said. Stick to your plan. When you're getting married, you receive so much feedback, you receive so many opinions, so many recommendations, whatever they want to call it. You receive people telling you what you should do, what they think is best for you, telling you how you should plan this, telling you which vendor to use, telling you why you should do it this way. And a lot of the time, the opinions and recommendations are far from your budget. So someone is telling you that they saw another wedding where they did this like this, so why don't you do that like that? It can be very overwhelming, but you need to resolve to stick to your plan. Of course, receiving feedback, taking recommendations is great, but when the recommendation does not align with your budget, politely decline. Because when you're broke, when you're thinking about the cost, it's not the people that give the recommendations that will be paying for it. You receive so much feedback. You receive an overwhelming amount of feedback and recommendations, even sometimes from people that you fully care about, like your parents, your siblings, your best friends. But also think about your plan, think about your budget. And one thing I want you to remember is you don't owe anybody a wedding that will make other people happy. You don't owe your audience a wedding. You owe yourself a wedding that you'll be proud of years from now. You don't want to have a wedding and then later you'll be thinking, I shouldn't have done this like this. I only did this because this person said I should do it like that. You don't want that. So stick to your plan. Make sure that any recommendations that you're accepting does not sway you away from your plan, does not make things any more expensive for you. Stick to your plan. It's hard, but it can be done. Stick to your plan. Okay, that's it. Those are my 10 ways to make sure that your Ghanaian wedding is more affordable. And because I'm fully committed to being a wedding guest, if you think there are any tips that I missed, please comment down below. I'm sure that there will be people reading the comments that can benefit from it. And if you have any feedback or comments on any of the tips I've shared in this video, also leave a comment down below. If you're new here, if it's your first time seeing my videos, I suggest you subscribe because we have more content like this coming your way. And if you're a returning subscriber, hey, I see you, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming back to watch my videos. It means the world to me. And until the next video, take care of yourself. Bye.